Tanjiro will die at the end of Demon Slayer. Or at least I think he has a very good chance of dying. And the reason why I think so, even though it's so weird to think about, main characters dying apart from, the obvious ones like Tanjiro's family and so on, is because there seems to be a lot built up around the idea that, you have to put your body on the line to protect everyone, and maybe that might just kill him in the end. Now, obviously, I just want to mention that I don't know anything that happens in the manga. I'm an anime watcher of Demon Slayer through and through, so manga's not my business. I don't know what's gonna happen. But in the anime, it seems, like I said, that there's this whole idea that the demons have this unfair advantage in terms of strength, healing, they don't have to protect people, they don't grow old. And, maybe by the end of it, when you face Muzan, who is everything that, the demons are, he's the very reason they exist, it may be a battle in which fighting him requires that ultimate sacrifice. So it's definitely possible, but I feel like there's a bit more we can look at to actually think about whether Tanjiro will die or not. And one of the things that's important is, the whole kind of parallels and inspirations some of the personalities in the series have. There's a whole lot of parallels between the Hashira and some of the main characters, which is why, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be the main characters that fill up the spots of Hashira. But not just in a way that, okay, the main characters obviously need to grow and fill up the spots, but there's already a connection between which Hashira will be replaced by which main character. Now, first of all, we have Inosuke and Tengen, right? Both of them are very similar characters when you think about it. I say you should go watch it, that whole arc again, Entertainment District, just with that thought in mind, looking at the similarities. But, at the end of the day, Tengen is just a more mellowed out version of Inosuke. A relatively more mellowed out version of Inosuke. Both of them are very self-centered, brash characters who are generally an acquired taste. You don't like these people when you meet them, but over time they grow on you, don't they? And they both use two sword styles with a crescent moon-shaped cutout of their swords. And they're the only two demon slayers who do dress up in a way that really shows their muscles more than anyone else. So yeah, I think that obviously at the end of the day, Tengen retired and Inosuke will one day fill in that role. Even though it might not be explicitly stated to be that way, he will fill in that role. For Zenitsu, I don't really have much that's like concrete, but maybe Mitsuri Kanroji, both of them seem to have this idea of love. One loves women and one just loves stuff in general, right? So maybe that's it. I don't know. I've got nothing good there. Kanao, obviously, living in the Kocho household. So more like Kanae and Shinobu. I guess more like Kanae, the older sister. But, it's very clear there, at least the comparisons. And finally, we have Nezuko, who is more like this kid. I don't even know his name. I literally don't even know his name. But both of them are quiet, right? They don't say that much. And both of them are kind of in their own space. When you look at them, you can imagine that these characters are just not existing with everyone else. They're off in their own worlds, in their own minds, doing their own thing. But more importantly, it was recently mentioned or alluded to by Tengen that this kid is pretty talented, right? I guess he picked up a sword and months later became a Hashira. In a similar way, Nezuko does nothing but sleep most of the time. She never trains, she never really fights that much. But she's all of a sudden good enough to fight, at the same level as Daki at the very least. So there seems to be a lot of talent with these two, a lot of silence, a lot of off in their own worlds. But more importantly, we want to talk about Tanjiro, since that's the point of this video. And Tanjiro is undoubtedly just like Rengoku Kyojiro. Tanjiro at the beginning of the series, from the moment we met him with his family, was the oldest, right? Of all the children, he was the oldest. He was the big brother, the one who took care of his siblings, the one who accepted responsibility. And even after his family died, he as a big brother wanted to make it right with Nezuko. That's the whole point of his journey. He is the big brother. And Kyojiro, for intents and purposes, after he met them, was being called a big brother. Of course, probably not the same word in Japanese, but he is the big brother character. Kyojiro is just the big brother, while Tanjiro is a big brother. And on top of that, they do have similar powers with the fire and the flame breathing, although that's not exactly the same. The theme of powers is the same. So if you go back and watch a lot of these episodes, you actually see that some of these Hashira are just more mellowed out, mature versions of the main characters. And obviously, at the end of the day, I think that the Hashira are more complete characters that the main characters will grow into, But obviously the main characters do have to surpass them in order to defeat Muzan and be the perfect generation that actually finishes everything and centuries of fighting. At the end of the day, comparing Tanjiro and Rengoku, it's important because just like Rengoku, Tanjiro may have to have that ultimate sacrifice moment in defeating the demons. And that may come at the end of the series against Kiwatsuji Muzan. Now, one of the obvious things that does pop up when we want to start talking about Tanjiro dying is the question of Nezuko. There's a build-up between the fact that these siblings are just kind of alone in this world and that they have to do their best to, put their lives back in track. It's kind of like a Full Metal Alchemist brotherhood kind of thing. But point is, there's the fact that they're siblings and that they need to stay together. And, Nezuko will be there to protect Tanjiro like she was when they versed Lower 5. And again, when they were facing Daki, Nezuko was there to help Tanjiro up. So yeah, it would kind of like catharsis in the end if Nezuko turns back into a human, but Tanjiro kind of dies, right? Where would that kind of we finally achieved everything go to? Right? It'd be a bit unfortunate. But looking again at the most recent arc where Nezuko comes and steps up to save Tanjiro, we find another pair of siblings, right? It's an arc about Upper 6 of the Kizuki, right? And Upper 6 is composed of two individuals, Daki and Gyutaro, a brother and a sister. And in many ways, Tanjiro and Nezuko are very similar to them, right? An older brother protecting his beautiful younger sister. And Tanjiro himself does mention that this could have been them. This could have been, him and Nezuko if maybe Tanjiro stayed home that night and, they both turned into demons. It's very clear that there's a lot of similarities and maybe their fate of both dying in the end together is one of those things. It may be something that, at the end of the day, Tanjiro doesn't need to die alone. So at the end of the story, I fully expect that Nezuko will turn into a human again, and that will be through the help of Lady Tamayo and all the research she's been doing with the blood that Tanjiro has been collecting and sending through these mystical cats. But at the same time, I expect that she will at least this time choose to become a demon again. Again, Lady Tamayo has found a way to make you subscribe to this channel. Well, I hope that she has. I'm still sending her cats with a lot of information. Hopefully she can find a way to make you subscribe. But she's found a way to turn people into demons at the very least. Maybe the subscribe is still on the way. Or the like. I don't know. But yeah, maybe she'll choose to turn into a demon again. And this time it'll be of her own accord in order to help protect Tanjiro and fight Muzan. But in the end, I do believe that there's a high chance, based off all the characters that they're similar to in this story, that they will die. Now, obviously, there's a chance that the whole story may be building up towards, surpassing and being better than those who came before, and they'll survive in the end. But a very large part of the story does seem to revolve about doing what's necessary to protect the people you leave behind. And so that may be what is necessary to protect the people they'll leave behind, making that ultimate sacrifice. But of course, what do you think? How do you think the story will end? Let me know all that stuff. And yeah, I got nothing else to say. Bye.